So,
Okay guys, we're back. Yesterday we made two stocks, the chicken stock, the beef stock. Hopefully we did, I did. But anyway, I've got the two stocks. I've got some onions sliced up here. I'm gonna get them in my my cast iron pan and start browning them, and then I'll show you, we'll cut up the rest of the onions that we have. And then later on we'll have to come back because it takes a while to caramelize the onions, and then we'll add the stock and some seasoning and some wine. But for now, let's get started on the onions. So it looks like a lot of onions. It is a lot of onions, but they really cook down a lot. And it's onion soup. I like a lot of onions in my onion soup. So let's just finish. I've got three kinds of onions. I've got red onions, yellow onions, and white onions. And the red onions and the white onions tend to be strong. So I like to put those in because they give a really good onion flavor. Yellow onions are sweeter, and then when you caramelize onions, it brings out the natural sweetness in the onions. So, plus it also gives color to the soup. For me, this part goes pretty quick. It might take you a little bit longer to cut the onions. And I'm also going to show you the amount of stock that I have, because I don't know how much stock you guys made. So I'll try to do it based on what I've got here, and then you can add more or less onions depending on how much stock you got. When I take the time to make this soup, I always make plenty, and then I freeze it in the freezer baggies, and it holds up really well in the freezer. I mean, it'll stay in the freezer for months. You know, I wouldn't want to spend all this time making onion soup and only make enough for one meal. So, what else? The stock I'll show you in a second too. The beef stock, if you make a really good beef stock, when it comes out of the refrigerator, it should be like Jello. That means you got all of the natural gelatin from the bones. Here, look at this. See that? It's almost solid. And then also, when all the fat comes to the top, we can take that fat off. You can, I mean, if you do a lot of cooking and you're making some sauces, you can use that in your roux. So that's beef fat, and roux is equal parts of fat and flour cooked. So most of the time it's butter, but it could be chicken fat, it could be pork fat, it could be duck fat, it could be any kind of fat. So what I've got here, let me see. These used to have, oh, here we go. That's 3 quarts. I've probably got 2 quarts, so I'll be making about a gallon of soup. So I've got equal amounts, 2 quarts of chicken stock and 2 quarts of beef stock. Now the onions, it's going to take a while, and you want the heaviest pan you have, because it's going to help you brown a lot more evenly. And this, believe it or not, when I finish adding all these onions, it'll be just down to there. It's not going to be a lot of onions. Also, while we're doing this quick video, because we're going to have to come back to that a little later, and I'll show you how to finish it off. But I'm making some oven dried tomatoes. It really, when you do this, it really concentrates the flavor of the tomatoes. And I'm going to use, you can use them in pasta dishes. I'm going to use some of these in my braised short ribs when I put the braised short ribs together. And I'm going to do that here pretty quickly in the next day or so. So what I've got here is a little dried basil, the oregano, I grow out in the garden, and I dry it out. So this is all oregano out of my garden. So basil, oregano, a little salt and pepper, and olive oil. Now let's put a little garlic salt on too. So it takes a long time for these because you have to do it slowly. So I'm going to put these in the oven since I'm in the kitchen today anyway, and it'll probably take, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. Just keep, if you do decide to do this and try it, just keep an eye on them. You know, it's going to cook slowly, and that's what you want. And then I'll show you later what they look like when they come out. If I don't do a video, I'll just take a picture of them. Or you'll see them when I do the video for the short ribs. All right, so for now, that's going to be it. And we'll come back later when the onions are all done and I'm ready to put the soup, the final soup together. And then I usually let the soup simmer for another 2 hours. So again, it's a long process, but well worth it. That's it.